And thank you for joining us tonight. This is our June OWL topic, or online workshop for learning, which is an introduction to journeys. So I'm excited to be here with you all. I've been working on this. What started off as an easy 15-minute session, I think will be much longer because there's a lot of information I put in here. So let me get started before I get ahead of myself. All right. So as you log into this session, you should automatically be on mute. I see everybody is. If throughout the session you have any questions, you can do one of two things. You can either raise your hand and I will see that, and then I will call on you and I'll unmute you so you can ask those questions verbally. Or if you don't want to do that, that's fine. You can enter the question in the question section of your control panel. And a lot of times people that log in won't have a mic. So if that's the case, then you would only be able to enter questions by typing them in. And I'll take breaks throughout the session to make sure I can address those questions as best as I can. All right, so a couple of other introductory things. So if you have never logged on to a session like this, this is what we call our GoToWebinar software. You should see a control panel that looks something like this on your screen, probably on your right-hand side. There's lots of bells and whistles to it. I won't go over it all, but just know that this is your grab tab, or this is a way to maximize or minimize it. This is how you raise your hand. There's a little icon there. There's a section where you can see all the attendees, and there's a section where you can enter questions there. So make use of all of that. You also have something that's not on here, which is a handout section. And you should see 4 of 5 handouts there. So I'll be referencing those. You can open them, you can download them, but I will be referring to them throughout the training. All right, so I think that's enough introductory. All right. So in case you don't know who I am, this is my information. Feel free to reach out to me anytime for any questions. If you hear something that you have more questions about, or you see something that you would like for me to send to you, please do not hesitate to email me. I have to correct that real quick. Give me just a second. Most of you that know me know that I pretty much live on email, so please do not hesitate to email me maybe a couple of days before I can get back to you, depending on what I have on my plate, but definitely reach out to me if you have any questions or anything else that I can help you with. So that's my information there. A little bit about myself. I've been working here at Girl Scouts for about 7 years. I started as a co-leader for my daughter when she was in the 4th grade. I was really unaware of Girl Scouts prior to that, surprisingly enough, and I've been here ever since. So obviously I fell in love with it and what scouting can do. So that's me. Now let me get to know a little bit about everybody that's on the phone call today. So I have a couple of poll questions that I'm going to ask you, and it'll also let me know that the system is working properly. So my first poll question, let me pull it up here, is I would like to know if you have ever led a Girl Scout journey. So let me qualify a little bit. So I would like to know if you have ever led a journey with either a troop, a group, or your own daughter on your own. It doesn't mean that you necessarily were the troop leader or a co-leader, but the fact that I want to know if you were in charge of leading that. So if you would take a minute to answer that, and then I'll display our results here. All right, looks like 100% of you voted. Yay! So let me show you the results, which I think are pretty cool. So it shows that a majority of you on the phone on this call have led a journey. So that's great. That's great. That leads me to know that I can call on you guys to share information and real case study type of information and examples of how you have led journeys with your girls in the past. I did account for some time at the end for sharing and questions. So great. So I do have another question before I move on. And that one is coming up here in just a minute. All right, so here is my next question. I would like to know, on a level of 1 to 5, how confident do you feel leading a journey at this point in time? So 1 is not at all confident, 2 is somewhat confident, 3 is undecided, indifferent, 4 is fairly confident, and 5 is very confident. So I'll give you a minute or two. All right, looks like 100% of you voted. So let me close it. Let me share it. So you can see that the results are pretty interesting. So 43% are somewhat confident, 14% undecided, let's see, 29% fairly, and 14%. Great, so we have kind of like a mix of everything. All right, so if you guys want to let me know through your questions what it is that you struggle with or would like to know more about journeys, I won't be able to address them each and every one right now. Hopefully I will cover a lot of that throughout the session tonight, but it'll help me script and deliver content for the next trainings that meets those needs. So feel free and do that also. All right, so let's get started with the presentation here. Just to give you guys an idea of what I have planned to go over today. So I try to keep it as simple as I can. We're only talking about journeys, and it's meant to be an introduction to journeys. So we don't get really deep dive. We don't really deep dive into the details of each particular journey. It's an overview. So please keep that in mind. First, we're going to start with a brief history of journeys. We're going to go into why journeys work, what the research says, what are journeys. We'll try and define that as best as we can. We'll talk about when to journey. So when is it a good time to do a journey? What does that look like? And what are some examples? And then we'll spend some time on how to journey. So I suspect that a lot of us on the call today, especially based on the results that you guys showed me, have done them before, but you're here because you want to see if you're missing something or for some ideas or from additional tips. So hopefully I can provide some of that for you. We may end up with more questions than answers, but I always consider that to be a good thing, not a bad thing. We're going to end the presentation talking about some things that are new and coming in the world of journeys. I'm excited about that. And then we'll have some time at the end, hopefully, for sharing and questions. Now, I account for an hour that we have together. I usually try to make it 30 minutes or less. If you need to log off, feel free. It's very informal. But I do want to make sure and give you all the information that I put together for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Before I get into the history of Girl Scout journeys, which I'm going to do very briefly, I wanted to take a step back and help us get some perspective of where all of that falls in. So nationally, GSUSA has what they call a national program portfolio. This is our program. This is what we do with our girls. This is what teaches leadership. It's composed of different entities. So the first thing you see here on your screen are journeys, right? So there's all of these books are journeys. I'm going to go over those. And then we also have the Girls Guide to Girl Scouting, which is a bigger 3-ring binder for every level. So those two together equal the program portfolio. We are only going to talk about today the journey side of the equation. I will make some reference to the Girls Guide. I've used some information from there, but we're going to stay in this side of the equation. But I wanted to give us perspective and remind us that it all works together. All right. So let's go into the history of Girl Scouts briefly. So about 2007, or before that, there were no journeys before 2007, around that time. So there were a lot of badge books, very big, large badge books. I'm sure you've seen them. If not, I try to keep a couple here. But there was not a consistent leadership program for girls of all levels. There were a lot of resources, but not a core experience for girls. So that's what you see here, a myriad of activities, but not a core experience. Activities that were not tied necessarily for outcomes, and without getting into too much detail, basically they weren't telling us what impact we had on our girls, right? So how did girls get a better sense of themselves through these activities? That wasn't connected in the past. The journeys now make that possible. So the journeys have fun activities that are actually tied to these outcomes that we can measure. They also noticed that community service declined as a core element of the program. So you'll see in the journeys, there's a big focus on what we call take action and projects, things of that nature. So all of the research at that point is what developed these new journeys as of 2007. And so that's the core leadership program that we use today. There is a lot of reason behind that. I came along when this transition was just happening, so I know there was a lot of buzz on that transition. There still is in some ways, but the program has been here since then. That is the Girl Scout program. Research shows that it works. And why it works is because, very simply, this is what a girl can do in a journey. So through the journeys, she's able to discover special skills and talents by identifying a problem she wants to do something about. They come up together with a creative solution that makes a difference, create a team plan to make that solution a reality. They put their plan in action, and they talk about what she learned with others. All of that is what we call our discover, connect, and take action model of leadership. So that's what journeys do. That's what makes them work. We can measure all of that. So I don't want to get into too much detail on that, but I could. I love it. But let me move on. All right, so I want to talk next about more of the meat and potatoes of why we're here, and that is, what are journeys? So this is an introductory look at journeys again. They exist because research indicates that girls, parents, and leaders want to see a positive difference in their girls. That's what the journeys do. The brief general definition or answer to the question of what are journeys that I always mention is because they deliver fun with a purpose. That's what the girls, the parents, and the leaders want. There are a lot of mechanics and details behind that, but that's essentially what they do. Here is a brief look at the journeys that are available right now. So to start off, it's important to know that we have 3 overall categories or series of journeys. So we have It's Your Story, Tell It, It's Your World, Change It, and It's Your Planet, Love It. So there's one journey in each of these series for every level, right? I have this website here on the left side. You'll see that throughout the training. This is where you can go and get a glimpse of the journeys. So if you and your troop are deciding on which one to do, you can go to this website. I'll show it to you guys at the end. You can go to the website and you can get a virtual look of, I believe, like the first 10 pages of both the journey book and the adult guide. I'll show that to you at the end, but in case you wanted to write that down. Okay, so these journeys are broken down into levels. Some of the handouts that I have available for you go into more description of each of these categories. So if you look at your handouts, you have one called It's Your Planet, Love It. If you download that or you open it up and look at it, it gives you a description of each one of these, so that it would help you in making those decisions with your girls on which journey to do. So hopefully that will help. Very briefly, It's Your Story, Tell It is about helping girls express their stories in a creative way. It's done in partnership with the O.W.L. company. It's your role, change it. It encourages girls to make their world a better place and find friends along the way. And It's Your Planet, love it. Focuses on environmental topics. So just to give you a brief overview. All right. If you want to look at the journeys by level, I have this. It's not a very good picture, but it gives you an idea of the 3 journeys that are for daisies, the 3 journeys for brownies, so on and so forth. So we have a total of 18 journeys. As you can see, the journeys were developed with special attention to the developmental characteristics of each level so that they're both appealing to those girls and challenging as well. The books that you see here are for the girls to use. We strongly believe that each girl deserves her own book to read, to take home, to write on, to share with others. Each journey has embedded the discover, the connect, the take action components with Girl Scout tradition woven throughout that make our leadership model. I want you guys to make a note that some of the journeys, they all have a take action component. That's necessary for any leadership experience. However, some of the journeys don't call it a take action project, so that can be a little confusing. For example, in the media journey, it's called Remake Project. Or in the O.W.L, Wonders of Water journey, it's called the Save Project. It's the same concept, just a different name, so just be aware of that. Another thing to note is that yes, journeys are required in order for a girl to go and try to complete or achieve her bronze, silver, or gold award. She has to do journeys for that. Not all 3, but depending on the level, 1 or 2. All right. The question I do get a lot, especially from new leaders, is, do I have to do them all? And of course, the answer is no, you don't have to do them all. Don't feel that you have to. We'll talk more about that later. But you want to follow your girl's interest and follow their lead. All right. Okay. So that's a brief overview on the journey books themselves. I do have this document in the handout section as well. This kind of puts everything together very well, I think, progressively. So you can see from the ladder of leadership from daisies all the way through ambassadors. So it outlines all the journeys, the awards that go with them, all the way up. They staircase, kind of like a ladder. So I made that available to you all in the handout section. If you have a question about which one to do, you don't know where to start, maybe it's going to be a new year, like I mentioned before, you can go to the website, you can get a sneak peek at them. There's also some brainstorming that you can do. I borrowed this from the Girl Scouts of Wisconsin Southeast. I can send it to you if you want. Councils are really good about lending and borrowing with permission and all that. So this is a really cool handout where you and the girls can brainstorm and evaluate, the themes and which one they gravitate to, and make some notes on that and get them involved in the planning. All right, let me stop for a minute and see if you all have any questions for me. Give me just a second. Okay, so I'm reading the question. So I have a question about how the journeys differ from earning the daisy petals. So yes, it's very different. So in Girl Scouts, you can earn badges and or you can do journeys. I'll go over later on what you receive when you're completing the journeys, but they are very different. So when you do the daisy petals, for example, there's a series of steps that you follow, and then you're done. With the journey, it's a journey. It's a longer process. It's a more in-depth process. It's the delivery of the leadership model There's a lot of components, like we mentioned, discover, connecting. So it's more of a project, I guess, if you want to think of it, than the actual badge work. So I hope that helps a little bit, but hopefully by the end, that'll be a little clearer also. Okay. Sorry, guys, I just noticed that you were still watching the poll results. Let me go back to the slides before. Give me a minute. Okay, so after the poll question, I answered why journeys work. So I mentioned this list to you of what they're actually doing with the journeys, the girls. What are journeys? They're delivering fun with a purpose. This is a picture of the 3 categories of journeys. This is a website link that you can go to get a sneak peek of all of the journey books and the leader guides associated with them. Here is what they look like by the level, daisies through ambassadors, 18 total journey books. These are the ones the girls use. Here is a handout that you have available where it progressively shows daisies through ambassadors, so you can see how they all come together. Okay, this is the sheet that I was mentioning you can use to brainstorm with your girls when you're trying to evaluate which journey book to start with. All right, so what are journeys? We're still on that topic. So here you see the journey book itself, which is a smaller one. It's meant to appeal to the girl. And then you have the bigger book, which is what we call a companion guide, a leader guide, an adult guide. We're talking about the same thing. So there's a lot of information in the adult guide to help you lead the girls through the journey. So the girls would follow this book, and you as the leader or the volunteer leading the girls on the journey would follow the bigger book. They come together, or you could buy the girl book separately. So there's a lot of information in the leader guide itself. I don't have time to really go through it all, but I can tell you it's very thorough. I've used them quite a bit. Here's a picture of inside of one of these books. Again, you have that website where you can get a sneak peek of these. But for example, in the leader guide, you get an overview of the journey. You get some sample sessions. You get ideas on choosing and conducting activities. You get details on awards and badges. You get links to multimedia, online resources, and more. Remember that you can customize the journey as you see fit based on your girls. I want to make that really, really clear and stressed out throughout the training, that you can customize the journey experience for your girls. The adult guide does not necessarily go hand in hand with the girl book. So I would suggest you try looking through the girl book first to get an idea of the topics, and then look at the adult guide, or vice versa. There are sample sessions in the adult guide, and those are provided to show you one way to organize the journey into a specific number of sessions. So here you see that they are suggesting, if you want to follow this way, that you complete this journey in a total of 10, 11 sessions. You definitely don't have to follow that. You can change that. You can make them less or have more. It's completely up to you. So you can make adaptations and mix and match activities, follow the lesson plans or not, or you could choose not to follow this at all and come up with your own working with the girls. So it's all up to you. There is not a right or a wrong way of doing the journey. There are activities in the adult guide that are not in the girl book, and vice versa. All right. It's encouraged that if girls want to complete activities from the girl book that aren't in the adult guide, they can do that as well. So this is just a peek at one of them. I have another, here's another book, and you can see this is the beginning of session 4, and it has an at a glance section, kind of what you'll be doing, materials that you need, how to prepare. It has activities, it has even ideas for snacks. So it's all put together for you if you want to follow it this way. I'll have examples at the end of other ways that you could do it. That's the adult guide. So moving along with journeys, you have the girl books, you have the leader guides. As the girls go through the journey, they will earn awards. They're called awards. I often refer to them personally as fancy badges. Here's an example of some of them. These are the awards that a daisy would earn. So these three here, you see them here. They're rectangular, they're vertical, rectangular. Then you have these little pieces that would go on top of it. They all go together. They earn each one at different parts of the journey. I took this page, this copy of this page from the Girl's Guide to Girl Scouting from the Daisy book. So I just kind of put it here so you can see all three. So every level would have 3 awards that they can get with the journeys, and then you can see where they go on the uniform. They go on the front of the uniform because they have been earned. It shows what she is earning. And this is just for the daisies. Then you have them for all of the other levels as well. All right, any questions so far? All right, looks like we're doing good. Okay. All right, so let me move along. We talked about the girl guides, we talked about the companion adult guide, and then we have the awards that the girls earn throughout their journey. These are more examples of those awards. So you have here some for brownies. The older girls, their awards look more like, they're more blingy, so they're more jewelry. So you have the sage, for example. This is the So What journey, the visionary award. I can't remember which one that's tied to. And then you have these puzzle pieces for the younger girls that go together. So just to give you an idea of what they look like. It's not all of them, but this is some of them. All right. Another good thing to do, a suggestion, and I see a lot of leaders, a lot of troops do this, so I included this in here, is to do a journey is a big thing. It's important. The girls get a lot out of it. So we want to congratulate them for completing it. Now, here is an example of a certificate that can be given to a Girl Scout senior for completing the So What journey. I tried to look, it looks like these certificates are all custom made. So if you go to Pinterest, if you go to Google, you'll see a lot of different ideas. GSUSA doesn't have a template that I could find or know of, so I am working with our council shop to see if we can get some made for us and then put on the website. But if your troop wanted to do something like this so that when they complete the journey, you can give them this along with their award, I think it would make it really special for them and they would remember that. And the parents, of course, would love that. So that's just an idea of how to celebrate. With every journey, there is also a journey map or a Girl Scout experience map. Here's some examples of them. These are big posters, right? So they're big posters. They get folded and inserted into the adult leader guide. But it basically shows you the journey that they're taking while they're doing that particular experience. So you have an example of the Daisy, the Brownie Junior. You have an experience of all the maps here tied to, I think these are the storytelling series. Here's an example of, so you can see it a little bigger. This is the journey experience map for cadets. So I like these maps because they really show how it all comes together in the journey. So you have cookies embedded in there and, you know, the financial literacy that's tied to that. You have mention of the girls completing the silver award and working towards that. You have opportunities for trips to take that will reinforce what they're learning through the journey. Traditions is always embedded through the ceremonies, the activities, the openings, the closing, and you have, of course, the opportunity for badges that I'll go over later, and the awards that they earn throughout. Outdoors is a big key component that we try and introduce in every journey in ways to do activities outdoors. And then in this case, you have an additional award that could be earned, which is a Leader in Action, or LIA, for cadets. So I like the maps because it kind of puts it all together. Every journey has a map, like I mentioned, and they come in the adult guide. All right. Another thing to note when it comes to our journeys, something that I don't really hear a lot of talk about, but I want to make sure that I mention it in case you guys are interested for your troop, is something called the Journey Summit Award. Here's what they look like. They're little circular pins that go on the uniform on the front because they have been earned. And the way you earn a Journey Summit award, it's not easy. Let me start with that. It's not easy because you get one when your troop or you as a girl have completed all 3 of the journeys for your level, right? So it celebrates, all that's been tried, tested, failed, experienced, and learned in the process. That's what journeys are about. So if they're interested and they complete all 3, then you can present them. You can purchase and present them with the Journey Summit Award pin. So you can see in this example in the uniform, there's 2 Summit Award pins. So she earned it for 2 levels. All right. Any questions on that? If you guys do, just type them in. I'm trying to check them as we go throughout. All right. So that's the Summit Award. Skill building badge activity sets. I always get my tongue tied on this, but this is a big part of journeys. Journeys are the books, then you have the leader guide. And really that's a lot. You could spend your whole troop year working on that. Now, if you want more, if your troop wants more, if your troop is spending a lot of time on a particular journey and they want to spend more time and you want to introduce more badges, you can do that. There are separate badge activity sets that can be purchased for each journey. Each set has 5 badge instruction booklets that you can then insert in the Girl's Guide to Girl Scouting. So I hope I didn't confuse anybody. These are sold in the shop. And again, these are a great optional resource. If you would like, if you feel your girls want to do this, they're very specific and they tie in very well. So like this one with the media, those are badges that can be earned specifically on media topics. And they tie in really well with the journey. So let me back up and add a little perspective to this so I don't confuse anybody, because I know there's a lot of different details. So let's take a quick look at juniors. So if we look at this, what juniors can do, what's available to them, there's a lot. You see here on this side is the Girl's Guide to Girl Scouting, and included in that book are legacy badges, financial literacy badges, and cookie business badges. Those are already in there. We've been talking about the journeys today. So all of these. So these 3 are available to a junior. And these are the awards that she would earn. And if that's all we do and that's all we have time for, that's all the girls are interested in, that's great. However, if your girls want more or you're spending more time and want to really take a deep dive into that particular journey topic, then you can purchase those badge activity sets, which are these here in the middle. And then you can work on those. So that's more resources for your girls to take advantage of. All right, so we talked about what journeys are. We've gone over quite a bit. I want to switch gears and talk about when to journey. So from everything that's out there and everything we've seen and all the research and experiential information we have, we break it down to really 3 ways that you can do a journey. And I'm talking about with the troop, because individual girls can also do journeys. They would need adult help, definitely. but I'm talking about in a troop setting. So first, you could do a journey during your regular troop meetings, whether you meet once a week, twice a month, every other, whatever that is. You could choose to allot either all of your troop meeting or half or some of your troop meeting time to complete a journey. You could do that. The other way you could do a journey is by adding additional troop meetings. So let's say you meet, I don't know, twice a month, but because you want to complete this journey and the girls want to complete it, that you guys have committed to doing 2 extra hour-long meetings every month for the next 3 months, right? That's just an example. You could do a journey with additional meetings. Or you could do something like 4 hour meetings during a semester. So let's say you take the fall semester, the girls would really like to work on this particular journey and finish it around, holiday time. Then they could commit to doing half days on Saturdays during that semester, as an example. And then the last option is what I'm going to spend a little bit of time on, and that's doing a journey in a day or a weekend. So based on the way you guys answered the poll question earlier, I'm sure you have heard about this. I'm sure you have seen it. It is an option. It's out there all over the internet. Other councils have their own curriculum. So I want to spend a little bit of time talking about that. Give me a second here. Okay. Before I get into details of that, I want to caution us to proceed carefully. Now, journeys are a very robust program that surfaces lots of questions. So it's a big topic of conversation among new and experienced leaders alike. We don't have time to really get into a lot of those, but one thing I do want to go over with you are some tips and ideas on how to do the journeys with your troop in a day or a weekend. Keep in mind that before we talk about that, we want to ask ourselves, is this the best way for the girls? So are they going to get what they need to get out of it? Are they going to be able to connect, discover, connect, and take action? Reflection is key to all of this, right? So you can't have the girl-led part without giving the girls time to reflect on what they've learned and make those connections for themselves. So I'm not a big proponent of journeys in a day. I have seen it done. I facilitated a couple in a weekend. I'm going to go over that. I just want us to really be careful when we do that it's the right choice for the girls. Include them in the decision. You know your girls better than anybody else. You know what will work or not. So how to journey, whether you're going to do a journey in a semester, a year, or a day or a weekend, there's a series of steps that usually follow. So I tried to break those down here very simply. So first, you're going to choose your journey. You're going to ask the girls definitely what journey they would like to do. You're going to prepare as best as you can, right? Our motto is be prepared. It's very hard to lead a troop in any way without being prepared. We're going to get help. I know sometimes that doesn't come very easily for some of us, but trust me, it's very hard, if not nearly impossible, to do a journey on your own, especially if you want to do one in a day or a weekend. You're going to need a lot of help. The girls get a better quality program when we get help from parents, volunteers, and the girls as well. You want to also involve the girls in the planning as much as possible, depending on their level. Remember, girl-led doesn't mean they decide everything, but it does mean they are involved in all the decisions of their troop. You also want to, number 4, customize your session as needed. So this is easier said than done, coming from personal experience, I think, because in order to customize, it means that I have to know what the journey is about. I have to do my homework. I have to read it. I have to understand it for what makes sense to me and how to connect that with the girls. So I make lots of notes. You have no idea. So customizing your sessions for what works for you guys is going to be really important to making sure that it's a valuable and fun experience for the girls. So for example, maybe the journey suggests that you go to the zoo, but your community doesn't necessarily have one. Well, you definitely have the freedom to improvise to accomplish that same goal, maybe through a pet store or a veterinary clinic that would serve the same purpose. So that's just a small example of what we mean by customize. The number 5 is create a timeline. You want to have some side of timeline, but also be flexible. Remember, it's about the journey, and there's a reason they're not called destinations, because it's the journey what gives you that valuable experience for the girls. And then 6 is celebrate. Celebrate, celebrate. And I don't just mean at the end. It's important to celebrate all along the way, the whole journey, because that also helps with the girls and help reflect what they've learned, what they've done, what they've earned, and apply that. So simple steps, whether you're going to do a journey, a semester, a year, a day, or a weekend, these are the steps that you'll eventually have to follow. Here are some examples of customizing a journey to do in a day or a weekend or in your own way. So here are some examples I was able to find. I'm kind of hesitant to give you guys too much information on this because it's such a specific scenario for your troop. So what would work as an agenda for one troop may not work for another troop. Lots of variables and factors, lots of resources that vary, but I thought it would be helpful for you guys to see some examples. So let me go over those real quick. So this one I borrowed from Girl Scouts of Eastern Missouri. Oops, let me go back up. So they break down very easily the different steps to earn each part of the awards. So I have those. If you'd like to look at them a little closer, feel free and reach out to me. So it's very curriculum looking, right? Then here is an Amaze Journey weekend, and I think this is one that I did with the girls at camp in a weekend. So I have that if you want to look at it a little closer. But it basically is an agenda, and it goes through. Now again, this will not work unless I know what it's referring to in the journey or the adult leader guide, right? So I got to prepare. And then this is a worksheet that the Girl Scouts of Wisconsin Southeast put together where it can help you brainstorm with the girls on how to make something that works for them, right? And you help them group plan. And then it doesn't have to be something like this. It can be flash index cards. So this is a picture of when I was involved in doing the Girltopia journey with some older girls. And basically it's a different approach because I like to be really hands-on with the girls, sit in the circle with them, so having paper is a little cumbersome. So I would make my notes and write on and put them together in a ring, and it was just index cards, and that worked for me. And what I liked about that is I could switch them in order. I could make notes on them. So I still have them. I still keep them in case I need them. So these are different ways of customizing the journey for you if you want to. You don't have to. Remember, if this seems like a lot of work, please by all means follow the adult guide as it is there laid out and you'll be fine. But if you want to customize it, these are some different ways. Or if you want to do it in a shorter time frame, like a day or a weekend. I do want to make it really clear, let me go back, that if you're planning to do a day or a weekend, that I want to be really clear that it's nearly impossible to do all of it in a day or even a weekend. So let me explain. You have a take action component in every journey. You have a connect component where we're going to lead the girls in connecting with what they're learning and taking action. Well, connecting usually means that they go outside of their current situation and learn about what they're, discovering, taking observations, surveys, all of that. All of that is very hard to do if you're in one day in one place, right? So what usually works is you do most of the journey in a day or a weekend, and then the girls have to do the take action part on their own, and then you regroup. So that's one option that you can do. I'll give you an example. When we did our a while ago, we did a maze journey, I believe it was, in a weekend at camp. And because I knew that the girls did not have the support they needed to complete their surveys that they had to take, I had permission from the parents to literally drive them that day to the mall where they had their clipboards and their surveys. And me and another volunteer were supervising them as they asked, strangers for answers to certain questions. And I took pictures and I loved it and they learned a lot. And then we went back to where we were and we completed the journey that way. So that's just an example. So I just want to make that really clear that if you're going to try and do a journey a day or weekend, it's almost impossible to do that because of the connect and take action. You have to build that in for later and then regroup unless you come up with a different way. All right, so now I want to talk about what's new. I'm trying to speed it up here a little bit. So we've talked about journeys, basic overview. I hope I've given you guys some ideas on, when you can do one, what that process looks like. I want to spend some time talking about some things that are happening that are new in the journey world, which is kind of cool because we haven't had anything new since 2007. So I'm going to go over it really briefly. The first thing is something that you probably heard about called our Volunteer Toolkit, or VTK for short. I really cannot spend too much time on this because it's so new that I am learning it along with you. But basically, it's a way that you can log in on our website. You can go in and you have access to a volunteer toolkit. There's a lot of things you can do on there. That's a whole other workshop to go over all of that. I want to just let you know that one of the things you can do on there is you can look at Brownie or at Journey components and sessions. So like this example here is a Brownie Journey year. You can see the sessions here and what they earn, and you can add that to your troop year. You can mix and match them. You can change them around. So that's very cool. You can have it on your phone, on your tablet, and you can have that with you at your troop meeting. With that said, I want to be really clear that this is for kinder through 5th grade. So GSUSA has made this available where all the journey information for most journeys, most series, are available on the volunteer toolkit. The older levels are not yet, or if they are, they're available as a downloadable PDF. So I know there's going to be a lot of confusion and questions about that. We'll sort it all out as we're doing it, but I wanted to mention that the volunteer toolkit will have a lot of journey information, so I think that's pretty cool. Another new thing, brand new, like very, very new, is that we will have new journeys. Yay! We're going to have new journeys coming out. This is the first time we've had anything new in journeys since they started. And it'll be the summer of 2017, mid-July, I believe. We are going to have new Outdoor Journeys Awards and Badges and new STEM Journeys Awards and Badges. So we're very excited. All of this was based off of feedback. The priorities, I couldn't really put too much detail in this slide or pictures because we have an embargo with any external entities. So I can't put too much out there. However, if you want more information, feel free and reach out to me. But to give you an overview, for the outdoor category, it focuses on outdoor skill, outdoor adventure, environmental action. It's going to be new journeys, and this includes daisies, which is completely new for us. So those of you that are on here and have daisies, you'll be the first to know that daisies will have outdoor badges that they can earn starting mid-July. They focus on progression, which I'm very big on, These particular outdoor journeys, awards, and badges will be available in the volunteer toolkit for K through 5, and then for the 6th through 12th grade girls, it'll be downloadable PDFs. The STEM journeys are for K through 5 only right now, I believe. It focuses on engineering, computer science, and outdoor STEM. There's also a whole series of robotic badges that'll be available. So that's really exciting. I believe, oh, and there's also going to be, for the first time ever, a multi-level badge or journey, multi-level journey. So assuming that you would have girls in every grade K through 5, you can pull activities from these. So all of that's really neat, very exciting, based on popular demand. So as we get more information, you'll be seeing it online and everywhere else. If you want more details now, I would be happy to share as much as I know with you. Just reach out to me. All right, so I want to end with some journey survival tips for you guys because I'm at the end of my presentation. Let me make sure you guys have any questions. Okay, I'm going to get to your question. You guys have really good comments right now, so let me finish this slide first. So a couple of survival tips, and you've heard me say this throughout the training. So number 1, you want to start and lead with the girls. So get their input from the beginning. Also your parents, make sure that they understand what you're working on so that you have their buy-in. That'll help with parent engagement, definitely. But start with the girls and lead with the girls. So if the girls seem bored, then we're going to have to change it up. If they aren't feeling that topic, we're going to have to change it up. So that leads me to number 2, which is be flexible. I know it's easier said than done, but we got to be flexible with our timelines that we maybe set on ourselves, and maybe with our goals of completing this or that. We got to listen to the girls and just be flexible. Also, self-care is a must. I'm really big on that with all of us, especially troop leaders. Self-care, you must take care of yourself, which means help. You need help, which is number 4. So make sure you get as much help as you can. There's different ways to do that, so you can definitely tap into your service unit. I'm sure there's lots of volunteers that have done journeys or have experience or can help you. Reach out to any of us for resources. There's lots of stuff out there to help you and make things a little easier. Number 5 is customize. Remember that there is no right or wrong way to journey. Trust me. The way you do a journey is going to look very different from the way another troop does a journey, and that is okay. I think that's what makes Girl Scouts great. And then number 6 is celebrate the journey. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. All right. So if you keep those in mind, you will be good. All right. So if you are looking for additional resources, here are a couple. So we have the national website page. There's a couple of YouTube videos of actual troops and their experience and what the girls have done as a Take Action project with that journey. So I think those are great. This the website that I was showing you where you can get a sneak peek at all of the journeys and the adult guides, so it can help you decide what to work on. Pinterest is, of course, fabulous and a little addictive, but I'll show you guys here all the results that come out when I Pinterest Girl Scout journeys. And then, of course, our personal Facebook page for Girl Scout volunteers, GSUSA volunteers. Don't hesitate to ask questions of each other there. It's a really good network for input. So let me show you what these look like real quick before I get to your questions. So bear with me. Okay. So this is what the GSUSA webpage looks like. This is GSUSA. They have a journey section, and then so it gives you some information on that. But then if you click on each series, like It's Your World, Change It, then it gives you information on that once it loads, right? So it gives you a description of each. And then here's where you have the videos. I really like the videos. I would play them for you, but it'll take longer, and the audio always doesn't work all the time. If you click on here, this link, guides for each level, then it'll take you to that other website I was referring to where you can get a sneak peek. So let's say you and your girl are deciding which journey to do and you want to look at the Get Moving journey. This is the adult guide that'll come up virtually. I believe it's the first 8 or so pages. And then you can kind of scroll through them and it helps you decide. You can do the same thing for the girl journeys. The other thing I was going to show you is Pinterest is a great resource. So if you, let me pull it over here. So if you see here on my Pinterest account, I just entered Girl Scout Journeys, and there's a bunch of resources from all over. So feel free to use what works for you. And then the other thing is our Facebook page. So this is, if you're not on our Facebook volunteer page, just ask and request and I'll make sure and add you on, but it's a great resource for information. All right, so I'd like to finish off our session going over your questions. Gosh, it's already been an hour, guys. You've been so patient with me. Thank you. So let me go over any questions that you have right now. Let's see. Give me just a minute. All right, so let's see. All right, so I see a lot of talk about doing the journeys in a day or weekend, and I hesitated whether or not to include that in here. I don't know how introductory that is, but I see that surfacing more and more. All right. All right, I like your comments. Okay, I have a question. Are the new journeys replacing any of the current journeys? No, they're not. I can answer that one. They are not replacing anything. They're additional. The other question is, will the girls have to earn 5 journeys in order to earn the Journey Summit pin? That's an excellent question. I'm so glad I retook the GSUSA webinar this afternoon. The answer is no. They only have to do 3 journeys, and that's it. So that requirement will remain the same to earn the Summit Award. All right, and I think that's it. There was just one comment on, let's see. It says, wouldn't the Daisy Summit Award be on the Daisy vest, the Brownie Summit Award on the Brownie vest? Yes, I think that's the way it works, and it looks like that's one of the pins that you can move along in levels. So great questions, guys. If you have anything else, of course, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm going to let everybody go. It's been an hour. It's a minute over, and I don't like to be late. So thank you all so much, and I look forward to seeing you again in the future.